What is Kinesis? Kinesis is an AWS service for ingesting and storing streaming data. This includes data such as log data from mobile devices, website click streams, stock prices, temperature readings, and whatever you fancy. Let's actually create our first data stream. First, we'll pick a name. Let's go with first_stream. Now we need to decide if we are going to go with on-demand or provisioned. With on-demand, AWS will scale the throughput for us dependent on traffic. With provision capacity, we must determine the throughput necessary. We'll go with provision for the capacity mode. AWS Kinesis' smallest unit of throughput is measured in what AWS calls shards. And shards contain records. More on records later. One shard has a write throughput of 1 megabit per second and or 1,000 records per second. A read throughput of 2 megabits per second. Let's review what this table means. Capacity mode. As you saw earlier, we are using provisioned capacity where we define the throughput. Provisioned shards. The number of shards we requested. Data retention period. The TLDR, our data will be by default stored in the shard for a period of 24 hours for free. Anything past 24 hours will incur a charge. Server-side encryption. Using KMS, we can encrypt our data at rest. Monitoring enhanced metrics. This collects additional telemetry data. Tags, tagging the data stream. Data stream sharing policy allows you to share streams across AWS accounts. Let's explore the UI before we take a look at a code example. Applications give you various options for using producers and consumers. Monitoring shows you what is going on with your stream. This is a great screen to see if you're running into hard limits. Configurations allow you to change the configurations such as the capacity mode, provision shard count, tags, encryption, data retention policy period, and more advanced monitoring. Enhanced fan out is for when you want to fan out your data. Hopefully this will be covered in a future video. Data viewer allows you to read data from your shards via the UI. As you can see, we currently have no data in our shard. Data stream sharing is for sharing your data stream with different AWS accounts. Event Bridge Pipelines is used to create custom actions when certain events occur with your data stream, such as change the configuration of your data stream. Now let's look at a code example. Navigate to this GitHub link or look for the link in the description. Use git clone or download the project. Open the project in your favorite IDE and navigate to constants.java. Make sure the stream name and region are correct. Let's go to producer.java and produce some records. In the send events method, we first create the Kinesis client, then we create a list for our put records. We are creating several records, so we'll need a for loop. We generate some data and convert it to SDK bytes. Now we create the actual put record entry. Records are written to shards, and records consist of 3 elements: a partition key, and a data blob, and a sequence number. We only need to provide the partition key and the data blob. AWS will handle creating the sequence number. The next couple of lines pushes the records to the shard. Now let's actually run the program. Success! Let's go back to the UI under the Data Viewer tab and pull the data. You can see we have data for our shard. This data will remain here for a period of 24 hours because we left the data retention period at default. Now we will use consumer.java to read from the shard programmatically. In the receive events method, we first describe the stream to get the shard name. Next, we need to get the shard iterator to iterate over the shard. The shard iterator has 5 different types: at sequence number, after sequence number, trim horizon, at timestamp, latest. We will use trim horizon because that reads everything on the shard. Get the shard iterator from the shard iterator response. Prepare the get records request with the shard iterator. We call the API here, and now we loop over every record in the response. Sometimes responses do not have any records in them. We then get the next shard iterator to get more records if they exist. Now run the program. There are our records. We can leave the program running and we can generate more records. And you will see them get picked up by the consumer. Well, that's Kinesis in a nutshell. Subscribe if you want to learn more about AWS services like Kinesis.